this year working with clinicians. I have a lot of clinicians as clients and supervisees and so on and so forth. So what does it look like for you to put the self-care into action?
For me, I know I have to be super intentional because of the different roles that I operate in. So I try to live as best as possible to like the code of ethics, right? Do no harm. Well, do no harm is more than using the wrong intervention for a client or saying something that can re-traumatize them or re-trigger them. Do no harm means taking care of yourself so that you don't walk into the room pouring from an empty cup. Do no harm is making sure that you are emotionally okay so that you're not bleeding on your client. And so that's what like self-care looks like for me, just being super intentional, understanding that God has given me the opportunity to be able to speak life into other people and help them connect the dots. But I can't do that unless I take care of myself first.
Yeah. Have you found that to be a little harder given all of the events of this year and the pandemic and quarantine, or?
I wouldn't say it's harder. I think it's taught me to schedule it out and to make sure that I am just carving out space specifically for myself. It's crazy because of the pandemic, I feel like all of us as mental health professionals, our schedule really hasn't slowed down. We've had to make so many different changes, whether you're switching from an in-person practice to being completely online. Whereas for me, I work in a residential treatment facility. So I was seeing clients and still am seeing clients in person, face to face, trying to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, making sure that I'm masked up, my clients are masked up and everything like that. So it's just a lot of adjustments. I think for me, it wasn't hard. It was just an extra layer of things that needed to be done in order to make sure that everybody was safe.
Right. Yeah, no, it definitely is a lot of adjustment for therapists because things have ramped up for I don't know anybody who's like, oh, things are slowing down. And one of the things Alicia and I have talked about is how, we're having this collective traumatic experience where normally as therapists, it's like we've had experiences and we talk to our clients about, we kind of reference past experiences, but this time it's like we're all in it together. And I'll be honest, for me, it's been a little bit difficult just because I'm used to, being able to manage myself a little better and not be going through the same thing at the same time. Having to guide someone through something that I've never experienced, I don't have that history from, has been harder for me. And so I've relied a lot on, supervision and talking with other therapists and things like that. But I think it's important to, as a therapist, to put that out there because that's just what's honest. And I think a lot of times our clients think, oh, we have all the answers and we know all the things, but it's like, no. It takes.
I know recently, I think this year, the hardest thing was like seeing all of like the racially charged stuff happening within our country and trying to sort through all of that, process all of that, deal with my own personal grief as we are collectively grieving. That was so hard. And then also helping my clients work through that as well. And so it's crazy because like you mentioned, a lot of the clients will automatically assume that we have all the answers and they forget sometimes that we're human beings as well and we're trying to navigate these things simultaneously.
Right.
Yeah, it's I don't know how often this happens. Like Erin mentioned that we are currently going through like what we're trying to help people process, and I think for my friends that are therapists, a lot of them have said like I've been in more contact with my own therapist while I help other people. So just putting that out there for those of you that are nurses and everybody else, essential workers that are working with people daily, to make sure that you have somebody you can rely on.
Yeah. It's been very important for me and very helpful for me because, like I said, it was just a little harder for me to be there for people when I'm myself, like, I don't know what to do in this pandemic. And, just having a lot of transitions in life at the start of the year and then being quarantined with all the transitions. It's been really hard. And like you said, if people are grieving, I mean, there's been so much loss in this country with, people dying from this virus, and seems like our government doesn't care, and it's like, how do you process that? How do you stay tender in that? It's just been a very trying time for everybody. So You're absolutely right. Like self-care has been a main focus for sure.
Right.
And I also feel like it's been like, one of those things where we just kind of throw it out, self-care, self-care, self-care. And it's like, what does that look like? And so like, I can say for me specifically, like, since I have a dog, I don't know if you know, but like everybody on the podcast knows about my dog, Nico, but like being made to walk outside more often than I naturally did before has been really soothing for me. A friend of mine, Jeremiah, who's actually on here right now, he was saying, he asked me last week, when's the last time I had like a really transformative meditation session? And I was like, I don't know that I have, but I do know that when I walk with my dog, like I'm really paying attention to nature and I'm looking to see things I haven't seen before in the same neighborhood that I walk 5,000 times every day. And, I'm trying to see what lessons nature can teach me just by being in it. And I think that is a meditative experience for me, and a way that I take care of myself every single day, because this has been overwhelming. And like Alicia said, I have been reaching out to my therapist more and just trying to like get some stuff off of me so that I can be there for my clients. So yeah, it's just a lot. It's hard work what we do. And I don't know that, I have to remind myself like this is an experience that other people don't have to go through like we do. So yeah.
Definitely. It's so interesting when you're talking about just being, right? Like getting in touch with our existence and our purpose, and being okay with just being fully present. Because sometimes, you could literally be in session and you're really, really trying to focus on your client, but like your mind is like thinking about notes or thinking about what you got to do afterwards, or thinking about like all the different like side projects and whatnot. And so just being, once again, intentional about being fully present, grounding yourself, tapping into all of your senses, and making sure that, like, okay, if it's getting too much for you, knowing your limit and abiding by that limit, like those personal boundaries are so important.
Absolutely.
I'll say too, sometimes we have to know when we need to shut off. I think there can be some guilt around like, I have to keep working. There could be some guilt around like I have to keep working, or even, my friend said something about, this celebratory. She was celebrating something and she was like, but I don't want to say anything. And I'm like, I think you should still celebrate. Like, I don't think you should feel guilty. No, everyone is not going through the same thing in the pandemic, and people are not going to assume that you're boasting. But I also just want people to continue to celebrate the things that are going well, and not stifle or hold back because, well, other people may not, and Like, you don't want to. I don't. Yes, we can empathize with people, but still having something that's yours and still being able to celebrate things that's yours, I think is important.
Yeah, it's probably stemming from like that fear of possibly coming off as offensive, right?
Yeah. Or gloating, like, my life is good when, it's tragedy everywhere. Yeah. It's really hard.
Exactly, because, even though 2020 has been a tumultuous year for a lot of individuals, for some, 2020 has been like their best year. The opportunity to chase opportunities, to get more in touch with themselves, to slow down enough to strengthen those relationships, spend time with their kids. And so it's just like, how do you find, I guess, like this sense of balance between being empathetic, like you mentioned, for other individuals, but also being happy for all the things that are happening within your life,
I am not the best at taking vacations. Like, I might take one in the year, but like I'm not the best at like taking time off. And it's just been a lot going on with my family, and so essentially after Christmas, like I'm taking the rest of the year off because I just need a moment to breathe. And I definitely sat with, well, but what about my family? It's like, are they gonna, like, what if they need something, and you go through all these things in your head, and it's just like, you're not there to save them. Like, I have to remind myself, like, you're not there to save them, and that, they will be okay, and they know who to get in contact with if things go too far or too wrong. So, you're not the end all be all for them, I don't mean that in an arrogant sense, but it's just like you work so closely with people and it becomes such an intimate space when you're doing, therapy, that when you feel like you're not there for somebody, you feel like you let them down or something. It's a mess over here. The therapist.
No, seriously, it's definitely a hard truth to swallow, right? So we really have to sort through our life roles and understand, okay, like what is ours and what isn't, what should be on our plate and what shouldn't be on our plate. And then sorting through those perceived responsibilities, because sometimes we take on things that actually aren't even meant to be for us. So it's difficult.
And we're taught that, and we know that, but it's just like in the moment, you feel something different.
Yeah. I being able to work ourselves out of a job is a thing. But even to those folks that are checked in now, it can be, again, a task to separate yourself from your work. And so I just challenge, no matter what you are doing for work, I challenge everyone listening to think about what are you going to do for yourself. And it doesn't have to be that you travel outside of the country. No. It can be something super small, eating your favorite meal, going for a walk, or, just figuring out what is something small that I can do for myself to show myself that and express that love.
Right. And to prioritize yourself.
Go ahead. For identifying that, because, it's like oftentimes we think self-care only has to be on one particular day a week, self-care Sundays, because it's so trendy, it's so hip, that's the hashtag, and self-care doesn't have to be a huge event. You can do little small things, whether it's taking care of those responsibilities, paying your bills if on time if necessary, or listening to your body, doing yoga, whatever. It doesn't have to be something huge, or eating on time, taking your breaks when necessary.
Absolutely.
So important to do the little things.
Absolutely. And it's just hard. It's hard when there's this, what do they call it? Everybody's got this hustle spirit, this grind, whatever. And it's that's not life all the time. Sometimes you need to just be in the moment, be present, like we're talking, and finding that balance and not feeling social pressure to be I'm doing 10,000 things.
I'm grinding, I'm making it happen.
Yes.
I have noticed there's a page, Erin loves this page, the Nat Ministry.
Yes.
She calls herself Bishop. I like it. I love the way she speaks.
Yeah.
In her posts. But I like when people repost her, and I'm hoping people are actually following,
taking rest.
Because I am a person who people are like, well, how are you doing this and how are you doing that? And I'm like, oh, I rest. My rest don't look like everybody else's, but I do.
The first question I asked her when I met her and I found out all the things, so when do you sleep? She was like, I sleep.
I get my rest now. But it is so important for us to rest. And I think one thing that my therapist talked to me about was I can't think of the word, but I want to call it overproduction. But just I know me, when I get too overwhelmed, I work harder because I'm I can master something else. And so,
or overexertion?
It's over something. Okay. Over something. But it's a trauma response. This idea that as things get harder, you go harder in another category. Yeah. So that's one thing I'm challenging myself to scale back from doing in 2021, and not working harder as the things get harder.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a conversation I actually had a lot with my mentor this year, was just the idea that I don't have to feel like I've got to be on that hamster wheel of do, the grind culture, like someone mentioned. Yep. Someone also said superwoman complex, that idea of just having to do it all. Yeah. She was maybe, she just said it so plainly and so gently. It's just maybe you just need to relax. Maybe you're just supposed to rest. And I feel like it's a good thing to really sit and process that there's got to be balance, like you were saying. That it's not all just grind, work.
Yeah. What I try to help my clients understand is more than just balance, is finding that harmony. And what I always tell them is kind of like an orchestra, right? So in the orchestra, you have the brass section, the string section, the percussion section, and all of these different instruments come together and they create this beautiful symphony. And that's just the different aspects of our life, the different domains in our life. We try to create balance. We're trying to put these equal portions in all areas of our lives. And that'll create compassion fatigue, burnout, or these unrealistic expectations. So it's very important for us to try to figure out how we can just make peace with those different aspects of our lives and see how they all work together, trying to build like this intersectionality between all of them.
Yeah. Well, and journaling is a really great way.
Yes.
Here we go, right? Bring it back around. But journaling really is a really good way to kind of sit and see what are you doing, and are you being balanced or creating harmony for yourself in a way that feels good in your body. Because a lot of times we can ignore what our body says just for that outcome, that production or whatever. And so, you know, being able to have something to put down our thoughts and really kind of take an inventory of what we're doing in each day can be helpful.
Me and my friend refer to it as catching the rhythm. So your rhythm, the rhythm changes based on what you have going on, and sometimes you want it, you want to be like, some weeks I take my vitamins every day, I got my workouts 3 times a week, I didn't eat out except for once, and then other weeks I feel.
Had Chick-fil-A every day.
I love that. I'm going to use that, catching the rhythm. I'm going to put that in my back pocket. I love it.
But, like, not getting upset at myself about that and just realizing that, like, ebbs and flows.
Absolutely.
Ebbs and flows. And I think this is a point that I had to work up to, because I remember there was a time where I would have just tore myself down when I got off my regimen. But just understanding that it'll happen. And, you know, the fall off doesn't last long. You just got to get back on the train. So, Sierra, where can the folks find you, and where can the folks purchase your journal?
Yeah, so you can either go to my website, legacyspks.com/shop, or you can head to Amazon for all of my Prime members out there. You can purchase Mental Wellness for the Creative. I also have a journal for entrepreneurs as well, which is Dollars and Cents Mental Wellness for Entrepreneurs. So you can definitely link with me through Legacy SPKS on all social media platforms, and you can also check out my YouTube channel, Legacy Speaks, as well.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So for the folks tuning in, we really appreciate it. I am the worst at being live and reading the comments, so we'll scroll back through the comments. And you guys can find old episodes of Two Elephants on Spotify, Apple,
SoundCloud.
That's the one I always use.
Yeah. We're just Google us. No,
all
number 2 elephants in the room.
2 elephants in the room, and you know, I'm not gonna lie and say we'll keep doing these lives because we're flying by the seat of our pants. However,
we struggled today, but we're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna figure it out, and if you want to join in and be a guest, you know, holla at us.
Please. I'm trying to read some of the comments. It looked like people were trying to help Alicia figure out the words. See, someone, Lovey be there. Hi, girl. She said, you know, we're not here to save people. That's huge and good to remind ourselves. Let's see. Someone said that, Jeremiah said he's grilled himself some bomb-ass food. That self-care. Absolutely. Yeah, no, he made this toom, which I've never heard of before, but it's like a garlic sauce that you can just put on everything. And I watched Till grill food the other week. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Lebanese, I believe. It's Lebanese kind of like, It looked very good. I've got to make it myself. Anyway, moving on. Small things are definitely self-care. Lovey Vila said that as well. So, like, it doesn't have to be some grand thing like Alicia was saying, going out of the country or doing something big. Sometimes it's like, you know what, I could do laundry or I could just sit here and just relax. The laundry will be there, so will the washer and dryer. You'll be fine. And then Shelly and Tommy said self-care can be simply loving yourself, which is absolutely true. She was helping with brand culture, Superwoman Complex. My former professor was, I think she was wondering if the word you were trying to find was overfunctioning. And like, that's a very real thing, like feeling like we've got to produce and be on that little circus wheel thing.
Yeah.
Nambi said that drums were his orchestra right now.
Yeah, my friend's Beyonce is supposed to be getting my drum lessons going so I can join Beyonce. Okay.
Alicia's a drummer at heart. I know it's going to happen, but it's so great. So Ahamoni. Oh Lord, I always watch people like struggle to say people's names on social media. Okay, and I'm like, oh God, now I've screwed someone's name up. But yeah, we'd love to have you join. And anyone else. Thank you, Jeremiah, and thank you, Lovey Vida. So, Sierra, thank you so much for joining us. I really want to have you back on where we can like actually voice record so that we can put it on our because today was just too much and I didn't figure it out in time.
It's all good. It's all good. Whenever, yeah, just let me know.
So that we can have a recorded episode that we can post somewhere because this was great information. And by then, I'm sure you'll have new stuff to share with us.
But this will be posted on our IGTV.
Yes, this will be on our IGTV.
Perfect.
To rewatch it, and I'll figure out how to put it on Facebook. It's awful. Like, you would think I was 85 the way that I navigate social media and the electronics, but
you would think I'm about 65. I'm a little bit better, but not much.
It's all good. I literally do lives probably almost every week, so it's so interesting being on the other side of things. And so I was just like, oh snap, like I try not to read the comments. I'm really trying to focus in on you guys. I'm like, yeah, this is not your live. This is not your live.
Comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, read them. It's fine. Listen, we don't know what we're doing.
It's okay.
Thank you all for joining us. I'm so happy because we didn't really promote it like we could have. Thank you for joining us. Come to the party. Representing Trefo State.
What's that?
Winston-Salem.
Oh,
Trefo. Yes. I saw my rims and I appreciate you.
Trefo. I ain't never heard you talk like that.
We're not gonna talk about it. Okay?
Oh.
I got a little hood in me, okay?
Ooh, okay.
I got
my
Gordon's on. Listen, whole vibe over here. Don't play.
Yes, I love it.
Okay.
All of the energy, love it.
Okay. But yes, we'll have you back on. We'll do an actually recorded session. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, so much.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Everybody, remember to take care of yourselves and one another. Have a happy holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all the things.
Yes.
Happy New Year. And what's today? The 18th?
Yes.
Maybe.
Today.
We get our powers.
4 years old or 5 years old? We'll be 5 years old. 4 years old?
Oh, that's cool. How are y'all gonna turn up? How are y'all gonna celebrate?
Yes. I'll get a bottle of, can you have champagne?
Yeah.
Well, I'll get a bottle of champagne and we will pop
Okay.
bottles. We'll come back live in 2 days.
In 2 days.
But
What's that, Sunday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Sunday. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you, Sierra. Take care.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Lord.
So, hold on. Because it's still live. If I X out of it, will it save?
Yeah. I'm almost certain. Yeah.